Good morning, church. Can I take this out here? I like to move around a little bit. Good morning, church. Good morning. It is so wonderful to be here in the heart of Little Haiti. And I have to commend you on, first of all, being so brilliant in who you elect as your elected officials, because Rodney's is not just a champion for this community in Albany, but she is also making sure that we elect good people to represent you every single day. So, member of Assembly Rodney's Bichot, I want to thank you for all you have done for us, your friendship, your support, your energy, which is unbounding. And again, the way you fight for this community with such passion, I'm honored to call you my friend. So happy to thank you for welcoming me to your church here as well. Also, we have Kevin Parker, our senator, has joined us as well. I've worked very closely with him, Senator Parker. Member of Assembly Brian Cunningham has joined us. Thank you very much for your service as well. And Pastor Sam Nicholas, we spoke on the phone, and he says, "You have to come to my church sometime." I said, "Of course I will. I work with Shirley Paul. She tells me this every single day I have to come out to the church." So Shirley, thank you, and Reverend Sam, thank you for not just your service today, but carrying on the beautiful tradition of service to God that you inherited from your father. Bishop Nicholas has had an extraordinary career, extraordinary contributions, and we honor him every single day. So I want to welcome and thank him for what he has done. 49 years we are celebrating the Evangelical Crusade Christian Church. That's a long time. Although I've been around longer than that, but I do want to say I honor your celebration of 49 years, and I'm really proud to be here today. And I'm joined by someone I want you to get to know. New York is, and I heard Rodney's mention I was the first woman governor, so that also means if you're married, there's also the first time ever a first gentleman, and I happen to have my first gentleman with me. That is Bill Hochul. I want to welcome him as well. Also to the First Lady who made me feel so welcome. You can talk to the first gentleman, First Lady. It's an important role to have that spiritual support and that foundation you get from a strong spouse and a strong relationship. But I want to talk about something that's been in my heart. I am from Buffalo, and I know it's smaller than Brooklyn, but it also has many parallels. Like many here or your parents or grandparents, my grandparents left great poverty from a tiny island as well. Now, it was a much colder island. It was Ireland. There was not a lot of sun every day. It rained a lot there, but they had no hope. I mean, they left as teenagers because there was such extreme poverty. They decided that they would start a life in a place called America and see if there could be a better outcome for them. And they found hard work, worked as domestic servants until my grandfather worked at a steel plant, which led them to Buffalo. And my parents started out with nothing either. They lived in a trailer park when they first started married life. And I go back to that trailer park to remind me of the gift I've been given, because my father's life turned around when he got a college degree while he was working at the steel plant. It was the gift of education and hard work that he learned from his immigrant parents that led me to this position today. So I will never forget others who want to be on that same journey, who face so many barriers in life and a lot of strikes against them. They come to America, but most of all, they come to New York because we offer something even better than the American dream here. We offer the New York dream, where we celebrate diversity. We embrace it. We say, this is who we are. It makes us so strong, and such a beautiful mosaic of people, and bringing their rich history and customs, traditions. We bring them all together here. Even a place like East New York, it's all so evident here. But the reason my heart is heavy is I did just come down from Buffalo, having buried the last of the Buffalo 10, they call them. And I never want to be known as a place that had a name and a number behind it. But because of the hatred in the heart of an 18-year-old who lived in our state, who was radicalized online. Now, I say social media and the internet can be very positive influences. We get a chance to live stream services. We can spread the word of God in a beautiful, powerful way through other platforms. But unfortunately, there's those who hijack these platforms, and the companies that post them and make the money off them let them get away with it, and hate speech is spread, and people become white supremacists. And there was a time when people were white supremacists, they put on the white hoods and the gowns, and they rode on horses, and they terrorized communities and towns, and they literally killed people by stringing them up. It's a horrible image. Today, they don't have to put on the hoods because their identity's masked when they're on the internet. But the effect is just as sinister, it's just as evil to know that there are people out there who will attack someone else or an entire community, or people shopping on a Saturday afternoon in Buffalo, New York, because of the color of their skin. That is hate to its core. And we can no longer tolerate the fact that this can be spread around and radicalized and shared by others, and copycat ideals, the spreading of these horrible, horrible ideals that are now manifesting themselves in the slaughter of people. Now, you can sit in your basement and be as evil as you want, and God will deal with you in your heart some other day. But to the extent that you can cross over 10 minutes into Pennsylvania and buy a high-capacity magazine intended for battlefields, and I've been to Afghanistan myself, I've seen what a battlefield looks like. How that can happen where someone has access to a gun at age 18 in the state of New York for starts, and you can't even buy a beer at the corner pub or corner tavern or the corner brewery, but you can buy an AR-15. And then you can go over to Pennsylvania and buy a high-capacity magazine and put it on, and you are basically on a battlefield here in the state of New York. That cannot continue, my friends. I am sick and tired of burying my friends and our neighbors, and that insanity has to stop. And I'm so grateful to have the legislature focused on this. We just have a few days left. We're fighting to make sure that we have sensible gun laws. But I'll tell you this. If there is a loophole that exists, such as we had with ghost guns. You ever hear of ghost guns? Sound kind of scary, just call them ghost guns. But you could order online a package that gets shipped to your house, you assemble your own gun, and you go out and kill people, and that was legal because we hadn't caught up with it. Well, thank you to the legislature. I signed that bill into law, so now they're legal. So we find a loophole, we'll close it. We find a law that's not strong enough, we'll strengthen it. And that's what we're looking at right now. And we'll use every tool at our disposal to fight back. And if we have to change the hearts and minds of people, we will, because this has gone on too long. We cannot turn our eyes away to the next crisis, like the slaughter of 19 babies, children, and their teachers in a school, even before we finished burying people from Buffalo. I said, do I have to keep the flags at half-mast forever? Because I'm always having to lower them because somebody's been killed. So I also have to tell you this. While the nation and all the eyes are focused on the places of the mass shootings, I cannot forget the fact that there are daily shootings in our communities. We lose a 1-year-old. We lose an 11-year-old up in the Bronx. We lose someone going for brunch last week. We have a subway shooter. Thank God the 10 people he shot survived, but I comforted the mothers who were waiting for word of whether their children were going to survive the surgery. I was in the hospital that night. We cannot say just focus on the big stories and forget the daily stories, because every life matters no matter how it's gone down or who did it. It all still matters that these lives have value. And that is what God calls us to do, to look out for each other. I told you I was raised in a very humble household, but one thing we had was our faith in God. And my parents made sure we understood the Beatitudes and our personal responsibility as Christians to look out for people who are homeless or imprisoned, who don't have food, who are grieving, who are in pain. And that is what brought me to public service, just like it drew some people to the clergy and those who are social workers and those who are teachers and those who are healthcare workers. We all find our way to serve in God's name. And as long as I have the gift from God and the power of prayers behind me, which I feel I do, I feel even more emboldened and empowered to not just offer our condolences and pray and turn our eyes again to the next crisis, but to never forget those names of people every single day and those who die in mass casualty situations, the slaughter of people. In their name, we have to honor them with change moving forward. That's what I call all of us to do as a state and as a nation. And tell our members of Congress, the ones from this state are supportive, at least from Brooklyn I know they are. Our senators are supportive. I know from New York they are. But we have members of Congress and senators who still don't understand that something as simple as a background check, you can't, after the killing a decade ago at Sandy Hook of little first graders, you can't say that someone ought to at least find out if they're crazy, going to do something that's already being shown on social media, they're going to do something bad, and we can't stop that in the front? Come on, people. Come on, America, wake up. Wake up. We've endured too much. So, I'm just getting warmed up. But I'm not going to keep you here any longer. But I want you to know I'm getting warmed up to take this fight. I'm taking it on. Because while I may be from a faraway place called Buffalo, I am a street fighter. You do something that hurt the people that I represent. These are my constituents. These are people that I care about. And when one of us suffers, then we all collectively suffer. But when we stand together and we harness this determination, this belief that we are on earth to serve God, but also to leave this place better than we found it for our children, when we go forth with that knowledge, steeled in that knowledge, God is on our side. God will protect us, and God will help us deliver the common sense changes this country is crying out for. So thank you, my friends. Thank you for the privilege of representing you.